Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. I look away because I'm trying to catch my time of day now, and I'm also thinking because I don't want to get too much into speaking up front. We're on with Renee and Anthony, and they're incredible channels, and I'm just inviting you guys to sit back, receive. We'll open up to Q&A later, so if you want to ask your personal question, raise your hand, type your question into the chat box, and we'll get more into that. But Renee, Anthony, welcome. It's so wonderful to have you all back. And it's just, y'all sessions are becoming some of my most heart expansive and opening. And I say that amongst a field of amazing channels and mediums and psychics that we have on the show. So just thank you for what you do and how you do it and for being here.
Well, thanks for having us, John. We love your show, as you know. So
yeah, I don't want to interrupt you too much. But yeah, thank you for having us. We really do love your show.
Well, thank you. Well, say we're into Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and we're talking about divine feminine and divine masculine. And I have to ask you, because over the past years, it's like this was really a hot topic. It was coming up in consciousness, in communities so much. And there's been like a lot of integration and a lot of divine feminine. Okay, let's embody the goddess, the divine feminine, whatever vernacular you want to use for the energy. And I love that you guys are bringing it back, and it feels more embodied and grounded for me while still reaching those far off places. What is it about this conversation that's so important, and the energies that it brings, and that for over 2,000 years, it's been a hot topic of energetics, but y'all are so consistent with it. Why is that for you?
That's a great question, actually.
I think for us, first of all, it seems so grounded because Renee and I are both very grounded in what we do. We make sure that we're very grounded in our channeling. We're very grounded in what's coming through us.
And in our life.
And in our life. You have to be grounded in your life to do this type of work, first of all. It's really fascinating that, for us as we channel, it doesn't stay stagnant. It's always in flux all the time.
That's very true.
The feminine and masculine, they're always changing and always
dancing
or coming into something different. It is literally evolving into something new, and we'll speak about that a little bit later. But
when we used to channel, when we did, which is actually one of the things that's in our offering with you guys, but when we channeled the seraphim energies, the Melchizedek and Metatron energies, there was a sense in the teaching at the time that we did the course that the Metatron energy was the masculine energy, and the Melchizedek was really more of the grounding feminine energy, right? The grounding, almost like the Gaia energy of those two. And then like later on in their teachings, they would say, well, there really is no masculine and feminine. We're just literally ebbing and flowing between each other. So it doesn't really exist, but they say that it's so important for us to bring that forward now, because that's where we are in our evolution. Right?
But I have to ask you this question, because it's just, we're talking about balancing, but if it's ebbing and flowing, how do we really balance it?
Right. So how do we really balance it? That's a really good question.
We allow.
You have to really be open to it.
Yeah.
I mean, as a man, and I can speak to you as a man as well, you truly have to be open to this feminine energy. And as a man from New York, the Bronx, I can tell you that it wasn't easy to be open to this feminine energy. But once you become accustomed to it and you start practicing it, that's when you start to see the magic really happening. That's when you start to see the balancing in yourself as a man, both masculine and feminine. And then as a woman, you can see that as well with masculine and feminine energies as well. Once you achieve that, everything starts to come together. They'll say it comes together like this.
Like one, into the oneness of who we are. But unless we practice that ebb and flow and that dance back and forth, right? It's the surrendering into, and it's the receiving part of the feminine energy, and it's the active part of the masculine
And the
energy.
question is, how do you do it? Well, they'll say, how do you want to do it? What is your way of balancing the masculine and feminine? It could be through any type of activity that you feel is masculine, or one that is felt more like feminine. For me, when I do yoga, I feel more feminine. But when I lift weights, I feel more masculine. But when I do Kung Fu, I feel a little bit of both, and you have to find
It's going to be different for everybody.
For each individual, each soul.
Yeah. And I
Right.
think, it's interesting. We did a retreat last spring, a live one, our first live one post-COVID. And we did some breakout sessions with people, and we had these traits, these masculine and feminine traits. And people would sit with it and feel into, not intellectualize where they were more masculine or feminine, but feel into it, and then have their partners that they were in breakout sessions with observe that. Right. And where do they need more masculine and more feminine in their interpersonal relationships, and then also in the workplace, and maybe with their kids. I thought that was really useful to do that, because it's you're sort of observing each other and then feeling into the emotions of feminine and masculine.
Yeah, and I also led them in a little bit of a practice of a Kung Fu as well, where they had to throw different type of strikes, and they had to coordinate their breath with all of this, and that made them feel nice and grounded as well. Remember, being grounded is the most important part to being able to balance both masculine and feminine energies.
I think that's such great advice. And it really sets us up for the consciousness, instead of trying to chase something outside of ourselves, which takes us from being ungrounded, to really embody those aspects of us. I was sitting in meditation, and the channel just came through, and it was one of the most beautiful quotes that came through me, that I feel, and very much in relation to this. And it was, in essence, one of the most masculine things that a man can do is to embrace his feminine nature. And the same would be true for the feminine. And to really break outside the definition of the boxes that we've been so taught to be in. Again, New Yorkers, same here, Latino New Yorker, and all these things, but being very feminine in my energy and my nurturance in the way that I talk, because I was around a lot of women who were really more role models for me than the masculine, but being very heterosexual and in that type of tendency. And it was odd being one thing and being defined as something else, and learning how to trying to distinguish who I was in truth and yet relate to the world. And how did Yeshua and Magdalene embrace those aspects of themselves and really provide a mirror for what's possible for us here now? And that may be a tough question to answer, but I'm so curious, because there's an essence of an energy that we're able to access.
It's interesting, because when Yeshua comes through, and Jen, this because you've seen it and experienced it, it tends to be a more feminine energy. And when when Magdalene comes through, it tends to be a little bit more of a masculine energy. It's kind of intense. But in our book, there is actually, that's not out yet. The manuscript is just about done though. In the book, there's a point where Magdalene talks about that. And she talks about how they would go and heal together. And they showed that masculine and feminine balance together in their work. So it was through demonstration and example, and also that Yeshua didn't exclude women. There were women apostles. We don't hear about them in the holy books.
I think Yeshua was probably one of the first feminists during his time. That's right. He didn't exclude any women from the group.
Well, and how disarming and how opening to embrace a man who's nurturing, And also to ground in with a woman who has her power and authority as well, right?
Boy,
Yeah.
that's really true. He would often say that she was a very strong woman. And that was the thing that he really loved about her the most, was her strength. Because, think about, he always had to project himself as the Rabboni, the teacher. And there were many times where he would just go away and just retreat and be by himself. And he needed someone there, like Magdala, like some of the other apostles, to basically take his place. And I think Magdala really did fill those chanclas, his sandals, when he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. How is this relating to the work that you all do? Because in addition to Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, I mean, you bring in so many other beautiful energies, ascended masters, divine beings, just benevolence in so many different forms.
Well, I think, what's been interesting lately, right? And you'll hear this when Anthony goes into trance. It may not be new from when we last did a show with you. I can't remember, but they'll come through and they'll say one now. Yeshua will come through first and say one. And it's the idea that we're all one and we're all connected. So we had I think you'll find this interesting. We had a Sofia group. It was a small group here recently. And, we channeled the Sofia energy. Right. And I remember once when Magdalene came through, when she was in more of her kind of direct, not confrontation, but just directness. Right. And she's like, well, who do you think Sofia is? I represent that energy. I represent that Sofia energy, which is the feminine face of God. And I said, well, yeah, but are you truly Sofia? And then maybe about a month later, that was our first experience after that encounter, where the Sofia energy came through. And it was very different from Magdalene. Actually, it was pure divine love. If you can just imagine, the feminine face and feminine voice of God, Godde, that's what it was. And it just bathed us in love. I mean, there wasn't a lot of conversation. I just started crying because it was that impactful. And so we've been trying to understand this Sofia energy that comes through in this very divine, energetic way, almost to do attunements and transmissions of the feminine. And the way it was explained to us from our guides was that, imagine this is Sofia out here, right? It's like the feminine Godhead. And then you've got Mary Magdalene, which is just a thread of hair that's part of this all. It's like we are the subatomical particles, and yet we are the universe. So that's kind of the scientific parallel to it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I'm gonna let you speak on that one.
But isn't that, that's how it was described to us.
In a sense, yeah. We are all part of
Yeah.
the Godhead. We are all part of universal consciousness. And they'll say that each individual hair represents just a portion of who you are as a soul. And we are a part of all of it. They'll come through and they'll say, Anthony doesn't channel us. We channel him. And I was trying to figure out what that means. And they'll say, because now, Anthony, you are able to fully become incorporated, or you're completely a part of who we are now.
Complete mergence.
They'll say the ego, the I, ego in Latin means I, they'll say is just kind of there now. It's away. It's no longer in the way.
It's we.
It's we. So they'll say we, and then they'll say I, but that's what they kind of mean.
It's the full merging, really.
Yeah.
Is what's been happening with us, is this full merging of the blending of both. And before, there was more of a distinct, when Magdalene would come in and Yeshua would come in. Now it's just flow. It's just like this, literally this beautiful ebb and flow.
How do you channel the Sofia energy and embody it? And then why would you go to anything or anybody else that, I guess I understand why, because we're all ready to receive different things and hear different things that will remind us of it. But the distinction is so vast.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you're right.
You
I
know,
mean,
there,
if you can go ahead straight to source,
yeah,
why channel
why use a
colleague?
middleman,
channel-
right?
we didn't do that in the beginning because
Yeah.
we went through our pagan roots. And there are many people that want to go through maybe pagan gods and goddesses, or go through galactic energies, or go through
Whatever they most resonate.
whatever
with,
they're
right?
resonating with. That's the path that they're going to take. And then on that path, it's going to expand into something different. It's always changing.
It's always morphing and changing. And I think a really good way to think about it is think about, we're channeling and we're bringing in source, right? The feminine face and the masculine face. And yet when it wants to individuate as Mary Magdalene or Yeshua or Mother Mary or Kuan Yin or whoever, that's when it comes forth as an individuated consciousness. Yeah.
But I think in the end, it's all going to go back to the same path. It's all going back to source.
The I am who I am
am.
consciousness.
Yeah,
It
that's
all
beautiful.
goes back, yeah.
I know when I first started like really opening up and going deeper into the possibilities of something that existed on my 3D world and religion, religion went to the side, and just a disdain and Jesus and the teachings and the apostles and the saints and everything. I was like, let me go into meditation and Buddhism.
Yeah.
Not as a practice, but the teachings of Buddhism resonated a lot more for me. So I'd go into my meditation and things would open up, and I'd have visions, and it was amazing energy that was coming through. But then after a few years, the Christed consciousness started, it just kept knocking on the door, and I couldn't ignore it. And then I had a direct experience that's just blew the lid off of my beliefs of how I grew up with religion and the dogma as I interpreted it.
Mhm.
And then that channel opened up, and then that channel actually took me eventually to galactic energies that I didn't have any resonance before. But then that opened up and another space opened up, and it's been fascinating, the layers that become available as we surrender into ourselves and just open to whatever intelligence is ready for us to have a relationship with.
Yeah, I mean, as Herbie Hancock once said to me, he said, Renee, we all channel the universe, right? We just don't realize that, many of us don't realize that we can channel the universe. We went through the galactic phase, and we can bring them in whenever we need to, want to. But when the energies first came through, I'm like, wow, who are these Palladians? Who are these Arcturians? Whoa, get out of our living room. That was kind of early days for us. And now I think it's, what it is? I think what it is we go on our path and our journey, we're exploring. And we're dancing with all of the frequencies that we've once been, or that we may even be
Even now. Yes.
Right? Because we're having multiple lives simultaneously. So there may be galactic aspects of ourself that are playing and doing the work elsewhere. And then we can just tap into that if we want to. But at the end of the day, what's going to be your number one resonance, I think, that you really connect to do your life's work? And I feel like for whatever reason, the Magdalene and Yeshua energy have been that for us. And it's probably because of the feminine and masculine energies and the fact that we do the work together.
Fascinating. And that makes sense. That makes so much sense to me.
Right?
I have some fun questions for Yeshua or Magdalene, depending on who shows up. And I'm so curious. I'm going to save the question.
Okay.
And intriguing minds may want to know. Y'all want to hang out for this one for sure. And add to it with your questions as well. So raise your hand, put your questions and your comment in the chat box as well. And before we get into channel mode, y'all, what are y'all seeing is evolving for all of us here collectively, for those of us who show up on these calls? What do you see that we're on the brink of in lots of different ways? And I could say, what are the challenges that we're facing? What's the next thing coming? But really, I really want to phrase it in a way, and I'm sharing this on purpose, y'all. What are we on the brink of? What is it in our evolution that we're popping through?
That's a loaded question, my friend. Okay.
Correct.
So first of all, anytime you're in this type of resonance field, there's always something that's going to happen to you. You're going to continue to open up to who you truly are in this lifetime. You're going to start finding that there's so much more than just this. And you're going to start to have experiences like you've spoken about. Things start to happen to you because you're becoming more and more open as a soul in this present, if you want to call it incarnation. And that's what's going to happen. Now, what is going to happen like soon? Well, I always say, be very careful with that, because what does soon mean? Does it mean next year, 10 years from now, 40 years from now? It's very, and I always say, I use this with Renee, it's very
I would like to
messy.
think of it as a wave of consciousness
Right.
that seems
Right.
to be a collective agreement, right?
Yeah, that is definitely happening.
That's true.
You know, and it's interesting because today, you know, we're getting to the final touches on the manuscript of the book. And I decided to call an old girlfriend from high school who was, you know, she's a PhD in English literature. So I told her what was going on, and she had no idea what was going on in our life. And she's like, oh, you know, and there was this for the first time in a long time, because, you know, when we're in these circles, people are kind of on board, right? They understand the language that we're using. And that was language she did not understand at all. And she's like, you know, how are you going to present this book so that people don't think you're crazy? Right. And so I hadn't heard that in a while. And it's because here we are living in Northern California, and there's a yoga studio on every corner, right? And a meditation studio. So, you know, it depends on your perspective of when you say, how is this going to roll out? You know, once you plug into your old world, you realize that, you know, this world that we speak of, you know, that feels more and more common isn't necessarily common for other people. However, I think this is the big thing. People are now in more mainstream circles. They're doing things like ayahuasca journeys. They're doing frog medicine. They're doing mushrooms. They're doing psychedelics, you know, microdosing. And I think what's happening with mainstream folks who may not be able to get their heads around channeling or this expanded consciousness, they're getting thrown into it that way. And then they want more of it. So I think in this more mainstream group, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, you know, maybe not from my friend in New England, it's more traditional, but I do think in more mainstream circles, we're starting to see that more and more. And people are like, I want more of that. I want that consciousness. How do I get back there again without the psychedelics, right? And so that curiosity, I think, is starting to open up a whole new world for us, where people are having like sneak peeks, if you like, of that oneness. And it's so juicy and loving and exciting that they're like, well, okay, what do I need to do to get into this place again?
Well, I'm finding in our type of communities, we'll call it, that for many years, people were having the peak experiences that perhaps plant medicine or psychedelic or dark room retreats or deep yogic or breathing practices provide.
Yeah.
And those peak experiences have actually become more normalized. So maybe we were like on the barometer up and down and peaking and then going back down. But it seems like we're even in keeling out the peak experiences where they've become so normal. We're not quite sure what to reach for those peak experiences in the way that we're so euphoric. Whenever it tells me that someone's going into an ayahuasca ceremony for the first time, I'm like, I am so envious that this is your first time. Because there's nothing like going into the unknown or a dark room retreat for the first time, because the first time of that peak experience is just like, it does blow a circuit in a way that can be intensely beautiful, whether you have a dark experience or a light-filled experience. It is something you'll never forget.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
So as we become more normalizing those peak experiences, I understand that we're holding a particular awareness and intelligence because of those, that we're normalizing or providing doorways to normalize it for a more general public, if you will.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We are becoming more normalized to these spiritual experiences. And the more we become normalized, the more we say, well, what can we do? We want more of this. We want to take it to the next level. Let's take it to the next level. So I think you're exactly right. As human beings, we are becoming more and more and more open to these experiences.
And I think, on the, the religious dogma side, people are looking for alternative methods. They're saying, this hasn't worked for me before, but, maybe I resonate and connect to some of these energies, right, from my past. So there's that piece of it. And I think the beautiful thing that we're starting to see is more men are showing up. Yay, like more men are starting to show up. And when, men can embrace the feminine and do it in a way that is vulnerable, but also showing that balance, I think it makes it okay, right, for other men to do the same.
I think so. Yes, definitely.
Right. You're seeing that too with people, with men.
Yeah, it's definitely my experience also. And what's shifting. And there's a lot of shifting also from, again, I'll talk historically in some of the yoga communities, the meditation communities, the plant medicine, even the spiritual communities, where there was a lot of sexual confusion and sexual manipulation, because there was such connection at first that heightened chemical experience would provide an intimacy that was based on a primal urge rather than an intelligence that was flowing through, that was a creative power. And so I think we're seeing more balance of that coming into these type of communities, which is making it more open and accessible for women to receive men in those groups, and for men to go, hey, don't label me as those things that were there before, because I'm not that.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important distinction of what's happening now in these types of circles. And for women to not make it a big deal that a man is there. Oh my God, a man. Oh my God, welcome. It's like, and again, normalizing that.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good point.
Well, and also making it feel safe
Yeah.
and sacred for both sides, right? For both sides to feel safe, for the masculine energy to be there and for the women to feel safe, and then for the male energy to feel safe to communicate and open up.
It's so interesting you mentioned that, because again, I'm so grateful that I have Renee here, or Gaia as they call her, because she really is that balance. Because when spirit is moving in me, they have no hesitation of touching, holding on a man's hand and walking with him. For them, it's all divine
Energy.
And I can understand where sometimes there can be a confusion there when people were seeing that sometimes this sexual confusion gets mingled in a little bit. But for them, it's all love. And that's why you have to be very careful, especially as a guy, when you're doing this. You have to be able to separate this type of energy, this type of love, with that sexual type of love as well. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because that too is another
divine.
It's another divine pathway to source.
Agreed.
Yeah. The other thing too that we're starting to notice is that at least the next path for us, they're doing more healing through us. And so sometimes when Yeshua's there, he'll say, hold my hand.
Yeah.
Be there, because I'm not going to heal without you, without the divine feminine.
Yeah. Which is
So
really
that
happened
at the Sofia event, where there was some healing and some energy attunements that we were doing. And Yeshua was like, you need to be my yin and, to my yang, or whatever. There was definitely healing can only take place through the balance of the masculine and feminine, he has said. So we're still learning that. For us, it's still an unfolding.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Oh, Kaz is saying Perth is full of men showing up. Well, that's exciting, because when I lived in Australia 1,000 years ago.
I'm not going to say
Magdalene or Gaia speaking?
It felt like 1,000 years ago. Although there were some cute men in Sydney, though, just saying.
There's some very beautiful people that live in Australia. It's like there's something in the water, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
I love it. We can get in some channel mode. That would be wonderful. And And as y'all are getting into that, I have to share with y'all the special offer that we're about to get into. Last season's special offer, and I'm just mentioning this because it speaks of the resonance and how timely what Renee and Anthony are bringing in was probably one of the most successful, if not the most successful special offers as far as community involvement and feedback that we had about a speaker's teachings. And so as we get into that special offer a little bit later, I want you all to hang out for that, because the special offer that we're going into, it just feels like it's just another layer on top, whether you participate in the last one or not. It's what's being shared is so relevant and it's being received. It's not just like, oh, that makes sense to me and I feel like home and I love the conversation, but there's like a well, like a spring that's running through who's participating on these calls as well. That is bringing in so much resonance and activation and transmission of these particles that we're breathing into our being and embodying in ways that we're relaxing into. So it's this beautiful organic process that I really feel is happening, that goes with the mind into the heart and into a becoming, as we remember, and as we touch the Christ consciousness through Magdala or Yeshua, as we touch into the Buddhist intelligence or Kuan Yin's teachings, or and really get into the flow with the Sofia consciousness, with the God consciousness that is right here inside of us all. So this is amazing. April put the link for the special offer if y'all want to click on it now, but we'll go through it in a little bit. And whenever y'all are ready, I'd love to dive in.
Okay. Well said though, John, when you said that energy, that God source energy is not just available to us all, it is us all.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to touch upon just relaxation. Everybody just relax. Close your eyes and relax. Sit in your most comfortable position. Open your heart. Open your hearts. Most important, open your hearts. Have no fear. We are in community now together, all of us. We are all source energy. We are all universal consciousness. We are all love. And in this community that John has given to us, so that we may radiate, so that we may become our true authentic selves again, so that we may become light again and see that, truly see who we are. See yourself as a light being now. Slow down your breath. And relax. Be open. We form a beautiful circle, all of us together now. Our hands are together. Only the highest and best can come to us, because that's who we are. We are the highest and we are the best, and we are of God's source energy. I'm becoming one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I say to all of you, beautiful, beauty, pulchritude, beautiful. You are all beautiful. And I say that many times because that's who you truly are. You are becoming who you truly are in this lifetime, and that is beauty. You are remembering the beauty of who you are in this lifetime. I am Yeshua. I am not different than you. I am the same. We are here together again in community.
Yeah. So important.
Community is one of the most important aspects of who you are, so that you may help each other become open again, to remember who you are in this lifetime, in this incarnation, as you call it.
In this vibration.
You live within a vibration that you call the earth realm, and you are having an experience of love at this very moment. Good. Very good. John, it is always an honor and privilege to see you and to be into your presence. Your words ring true to me.
Yeah.
They are of truth. They are of faith. They are the pistis Sophia, faith with knowledge and wisdom, my friend.
That means the world to me. Thank you.
It is my honor to be here with you again, with
Thank
all of you. Good. Do you have questions for me?
I have an initial question that I want to start off with. Anthony was leading us into a beautiful place of relaxation and opening our hearts. What would you say to those that say they do not know how to open their hearts when they hear that sentence?
It's a great question.
That breaks my heart.
Mm.
That gives me tears.
And it does me also.
1 second, please. My dear souls, I walk with you. I lift you up when you can no longer walk. I am there when you are in pain, and I am there when you are happy. Do not try to open your hearts if you cannot. Not now, I say to all of you. But when you are ready to open your hearts, when you are ready to experience love again, open them to me, and I will come rushing into you. I do not ask any of you to open your hearts until you are ready. Only then can you open yourself up to light, and only then can you ground yourself into the earth realm. When you are ready, I am there. When you are ready, Magdala is there. When you are ready, God is there. We wait for you. Only say the word, and we shall be there with you. That is my answer I give to all of you. When you are ready, I await your words. I await your words. I await your words.
Because unless they're ready, they won't receive, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
The heart must be open to receive.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you must find an aspect of who you are in this lifetime that will allow you to open your heart. Remember, we only need just a crack
It's true.
of light. Open the door just a bit, and we will come on in. We will literally put our foot in the door, and we will not allow it to close.
It's so true.
But just a sliver of light is needed to come back into who you are, and your heart will open little by little.
This was an early circle a couple years before COVID, and a guy had come, it was a physical circle, and he was just very resistant to all of this, right? And everybody else was trying to push, right, which wasn't going to work. And then right at the end, when our guides were here and gave him a hug, just a physical hug, and everything in this man's body just shifted. And afterwards, you guys, you winked at me and you said, all we needed was an inch.
Just an inch, not even
And
a millimeter.
It was just a millimeter, and his heart had opened just from that one.
So that
breath.
is how you open.
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't
that
take
was-
much.
That was my experience also as Anthony went deeper. I was reminding of the resonant field, the environment in which we put ourselves in. And I started feeling the balance of the masculine and the feminine holding. Not because Anthony's masculine or he carries feminine energy, but I can feel the resonant frequency, the energy, the environment, creating a space that we would call safe. But I'd actually want to reword that. A place that feels closer to the truth as we know it. And
John,
the relaxation.
brother.
Yeah.
John, my brother. I cannot say it better than you. Your
I got that.
language holds truth and resonance. In community, the heart will open even further. It is the key to enlightenment. You understand. It is the key to becoming who you are again. Together, together, together again. One, many, many into one again.
Mm.
Good.
It's a universal truth that you're speaking about.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
You feel it. You just feel it and you know it. It's like your noetic signature.
It's beautiful. And where can we get into beyond the concept of safety? Because we've been carrying the safety aspect for a long time. And what is it that will allow the consciousness to shift from the place where we're huddled in a place for what we would consider primal needs into the awareness of what we're truly carrying within ourselves, and that knowing that takes us beyond shutting ourselves down and into really open.
Yeah.
John, you're going deep on me.
I'm going to ask you some lighter questions in a
You're
little
becoming very profound.
bit.
You know, we look at it from both spirituality and science. And we were talking to a scientist yesterday about this. And of course, he brought in M theory and string theory, you know, to kind of explain the expansiveness of who we really are, you know, and to understand. I mean, he was saying, like, if we could only realize who we really are, the possibilities.
But how do you
endless.
go from
Yes, how do we do
not
that?
safety to safety? How do you feel that again?
Well, and then move from safety into wow.
Yes. So it first starts out with being grounded into your own vibration. When you can become grounded into the earth, and that is your choice of how you're going to do it, then you will feel safety. Then you will feel grounded. You must ground yourself. There must be something that allows you to ground yourself. What is it? What do you practice? Mindfulness, meditation. I always say many different paths lead to the same source. Take your path, find your path, and then become grounded in it. And then see where it takes you. Each soul's frequency is different and is having a different experience. There is not one truth for every soul, John. There is only your truth. Only you know how to get where you need to go. I can only lead you and direct you as a teacher. That is what we do. We do not give you the answers. We only give you more questions to answer.
Yes, we've been on a long journey with that one.
Yes. But a very profound question, John.
I think, is it not just experiences that we have some kind of embodiment experience that expands us, and then we move beyond safety into embracing it?
Yes, there is. That is correct. You do, but it takes time.
Mm.
1 second, John. My other half comes.
Oh, beautiful.
Miriam of Magdala is arriving now.
It's arriving.
She's actually here.
Wow. I feel that shift in my solar plexus in my heart. Wow.
I am Miriam of Magdala. It is a pleasure to be here. Beautiful as always. Beautiful, as Yeshua says. I am Miriam of Magdala, as you call it, the tower. Now, in order to be grounded, you must, as he said, find an aspect of your soul. And it doesn't have to be in this particular lifetime. It can happen somewhere else in other previous lifetimes that you find that is most important for you, and take that and ground yourself into it. It may be pagan, it may be Asian, it may be galactic, it may be whatever it is, gods and goddesses, but find that, ground into it, and then open. And that's where you're going to find your safety again. You will find your safety there again. It is.
It is
She thinks
vibrating.
that I don't see these things, but I do. Anyway, very good question, John.
Well, I have to tell you, as Yeshua stepped out and you came forward, in all transparency, I felt it's like, oh God, it's like there's a strength coming through, and almost like a part of me was going to be called out, like you need to do, and not in a bad way, but having to look at myself in a way that I haven't wanted to, because what's available to me in the consciousness of the love that I say that I seek.
Wow, that's great. That's profound.
John, you are the representation, ultimate, of both masculine and feminine forms.
Yeah, that's very true.
Coming together again, as you do on this show. I see it. I feel it. And when I come into you, I want you to feel that too, into your solar plexus, into your entire being.
Yeah.
And I want you to be embodied by me.
I love that. And I'm also feeling like this balance, and I welcome how uncomfortable it may seem to me at the moments, because I understand that there's something that's reconciling within me that was separate from that truth.
Yeah.
But in it, it's still, and I say this for all of you on the call, and I'll speak of my personal experience just now. It's uncomfortable. It's like, oh, more work, or what did I do, or what did I do wrong, right?
Yeah.
Not what you did wrong, but what you're doing right. This very second, this very moment. I am taking hold of your auric field because you're allowing me to. But I will only go as far as you tell me. If you say, come in a bit further, I will come in a bit further. Give me more energy, I will energize you even more. Take me to the next level, and I will take you, as I do with Anthony and Gaia. If they say, take us to the next level, we will do that.
Yeah.
I always say to all of you, lay down naked. Put a covering over you and say, Magdala, come to me. Come into me.
Into the auric field.
Yes.
So people understand.
I understand what you mean, Gaia. I too have been around the block a few times. As you
Did you and Yeshua do that for each other?
We did indeed. The more that I taught him how to let go and become more of who he truly is, the less of a man he thought he would have to be. He didn't think that he could become woman like me. And I said, Yeshua, Isa, you must become more feminine. During the times that we lived over 2,000 years ago, it was very male oriented. The patriarch ruled. Everywhere. And he felt that he had to be like that, but he didn't. he chose to turn it upside down and inside out, and he became feminine in his manners. He embraced the feminine aspect of who he once was and who he truly is. And that is what we did together. We healed together as woman and man again, through the divine, through source, through God. We refer to it as the Father, but it is not the Father. It simply is what it is. We can say that now.
You said the Father because that's what people could understand.
That
at
is
the
all they
time.
could understand at the time.
Yeah.
They did not understand. And I say this to all of you. You are not separate from source. You must understand this. The hardest concept is to understand and comprehend that you are source. There is no separation. You are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean. And each time that I am here with Yeshua, you are unfolding again and unfolding and becoming. I become very passionate about this. And this is how I once was, and this is how I shall always be. You are God, Godde, and I'll put the feminine aspect on it. That is who you are, all of you. Remember this. Remember who you are in this lifetime. Okay, I'm good. I'm sorry.
And I want to share also that yeah, I want to share also, Magda, that it's also the awareness and the embodiment of that same principle that allowed you to come, that provided the resonance for you to command your authority in such a masculine world and with the apostles, and to hold in light and congruence that with Yeshua. And so it went both ways.
John, brother John, if only I had you as my apostle in the masculine form. If only they were all John Burgess. If only they could have understood what you understand.
There's a good quote for your website, John.
Right.
Then I wouldn't have fought with them so much and bickered with them all the time. They did not like the fact that I was so masculine, but I had to be. And you're exactly right. Yeshua had to become feminine. It was the initiation. It was the beginning.
To balance you.
Yes, but also, I will say this, it was the beginning of the balancing of masculine and feminine energies 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
If you ask what was the reason for Yeshua coming, it was for balancing. It was the initiation of that. You must understand. And now here we've come 2,000 years into your future, and you see the result of it now. It is becoming more and more and more, faster, faster, and faster. You're all lighting up faster than ever before. Yeah. This truly is your ascension, as you call it.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I would love to get into the special offer if we could, because time's just flying right now. It's amazing. And I want to open up some questions from the audience. And I have a fun question, fun for me anyway. Whoever wants to answer it after we go through the special offer. But everybody, if y'all would, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. If you need to open up another browser, just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com /. Let me find out the / because I'm not sure exactly how April set it up to make sure I get it right. / Blue Soul 29, BLUE, Blue Soul, SOUL, and the number 29. And it'll take you to that same page. And this is, again, a phenomenal special offer that Renee and Anthony and the benevolence that is channeled through them that they're embodying as well. It's extraordinary. And I can't say enough. Again, last season, it just took off and it just keeps going. And I want to encourage you guys to participate in this. And if you would, Renee, why don't you take the lead on this? And I'll share my screen as well here.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because last time with the special, what we were trying to figure out what to do is because there's callers from Europe and Australia. And so if we did a live class in the evening here, it was going to kind of suck for people who were in Europe. I mean, we do have people who get up at 3 a.m. to come, but so what we decided to do this time to avoid that is to do a live workshop on Saturday, the 19th of November in the morning, so that it's going to work for everybody in North America and also in Europe. And I think even Australia, actually, it should work. Well, maybe not in Australia, actually. I'm not sure. It might be early morning in Australia, but there's recorded replays. So if you miss it, or if you want to go deeper into the teachings of the workshop, there's going to be recorded replays. So that's the first item, where it's actually going to be a live workshop that morning. And what we would love to do actually is...
Tell me. What are we going to do?
Well, I thought we would let the group who signs up feed their questions to us in advance, and then we can kind of customize and tailor some of the topics that we want to bring up based on what is really on people's minds. Rather than, do a set workshop on a particular topic, we'll be guided by you and address what's most on your mind.
I like it.
Right?
Yes.
I know.
That's wonderful. So here's a few of the topics that are on there, and read it on the special offer page. Again, we talk about balancing the feminine and masculine, sacred sex, love, intimacy, applying Miriam's wisdom to our modern times. Again, so much. I think this is so generous of y'all to provide in this way. That's wonderful.
Well, one of the reasons we threw just a bunch of bullets out, right? These are the types of things that we could cover. And of course, we can even expand beyond that. But I think it gets, it just kind of gives ideas of the different directions we could take. It's funny, we once did do a sacred sex course. Do you remember?
I do indeed. One of my favorite topics.
And the Eventbrite had flagged it because we had used the word sex.
Oh, wow.
So we had to come up with a different, we're not talking about that, but anyway, it was just funny. So yeah, that's the intimacy, sacred sex, and love, one of your favorite topics.
I can break the rules here too.
Yes.
Watch this. You think that I don't hear you talking about this beforehand or even before that? But I do. Remember, all of you who decide to come, I will be there, and so will Yeshua, and there will be others too, depending on your own soul.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
That is true. So sometimes, even though Yeshua and Magdalene are prime guides, sometimes in a live session, the Metatron energy or the Melchizedek energy,
or the angelic realms, or the galactic realms, or the ethereal realms,
yeah, that's
connected to the earth will come through, depending upon your own soul. We'll call it through.
Yeah, that's true.
Beautiful.
We had Gabriel show up, who hadn't showed up in a long time. And
so you see, John,
recently,
how it works, how it truly works.
It's a soul-to-soul communication.
I don't mean that.
Oh.
I mean this. You, John, and you, Renee, with Anthony are promoting something, but I can be here at this very moment and promote as well.
We've got the ultimate promoter, really.
That is what I did.
Yeah, if
2,000 years ago.
Yeshua was here, that would not be the case. Really.
I was the voice and I was the promoter. I got the Sermon of the Mount going. You understand?
I do.
See, I work through you and I work through him as well.
I think I'm blushing.
You are connected.
Oh my goodness. Miriam was the Don King of her time.
I think so. I think so. So anyway, this next piece is brand new. So what we've done is we've taken some of our courses and combined them into levels, level 1, level 2, and level 3, and then there's a certification around it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is level 2, because you don't have to necessarily do it in order, actually. And then this is 2 different courses. One is Gnostic Wisdom with Yeshua and Magdalene and everything that the Gnostic teachings were about. And yeah, 58 plus videos of channeling. It's a lot of content, actually. It's a lot of content. So that is one piece of it. And then the other one is Sacred Geometry, which comes with a 99-page workbook. And I think there's like, I can't remember how many videos are with that one, actually. I can't remember how many videos, but there's quite a few as well. And the weird thing about the Sacred Geometry one is that it's really all over the place, because we channel Metatron and we channel Melchizedek, and it's questions that came in for us. So it's in every direction, everything from sacred geometry across cultures. We talk about the Platonic solids. We talk about the role of shadows, numbers, color, and vibration in healing. We talk about the sun and human consciousness. I mean, it's just so random, the stuff that came up. What's behind physicality and intentions and dimensions, activation codes, what's their real purpose? I know, it's really broad and wide.
Renee, I
Yeah,
want to ask you,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so much Melchizedek energy coming in recently. It
yeah.
is so strong, so much in our consciousness. What's happening? What's going on?
Well, there's definitely a Melchizedek energy connection to Yeshua. Do you want to explain that, or?
Melchizedek,
Yes.
one who creates the different forms.
Yeah.
Why is it coming in?
Structure and order.
In a manner of speaking, yes. You might say feminine and masculine coming together again too. It's becoming restructured, reordered in a certain way. But that's not the only reason. No.
Great question, John. Mm. Mm. Mm.
I am coming now, more and more to all of you, because you are accepting me more and more. You are seeing the true consciousness of who you are in all of these beings, in all of the angelic realms, in all of the seraphim realms as well. I am a part of the seraphim realms. I am here for all of you as well. You are opening up more and more to us. That is why it is happening. You are being allowed to open yourselves up more. You are not restricting yourselves to me or to the seraphim realms. That is why I am here, and that is why we are here. The more you open up to the seraphim realms, the more you will begin to become who you truly are again in this lifetime. You are rebirthing yourselves all over again. You are becoming your true selves, the light of God again.
Now, the structure that you represent, you have mentioned before that you also work through engineers on technology, right? Of rebirthing new technology.
Of course,
Yeah.
your science
That's
is
another piece.
advancing quite rapidly now, very fast.
And you work through them.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
As your science increases and evolves, so does your spirituality. They go hand in hand together. Do not deny one for the other, but combine both as you combine both masculine and feminine energies in this lifetime. Your science is evolving.
Oh, I got the chills about that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big part, right? We need conscious technology.
It's the balancing of the feminine and masculine. It's all interrelated. Wow.
Loving AI, right?
Yeah.
Whole aspect of like AI and people being afraid of it, but if there's
I
a
am
balance
Yeshua.
there. Hello.
A
How
very
are you?
strong energy for Anthony.
Yeah, it is a strong energy because we don't channel him regularly, but there's also a connection.
There
between-
is,
yeah.
yes. It is a
Yeah.
balancing energy as well, but it is a seraphim energy. We say that these are energies that do not venture very far away from source.
Mm.
And when you're able to connect to these energies, you are very close to source energy.
Mm.
You're one step away.
Wow. I feel that in my high heart and in my throat, just the beautiful invitation to open even further insights. Wonderful. So as we continue here, Renee, so again, we got the sacred geometry of Metatron and Melchizedek as the third item on here. And there's a live channeling component to this as well.
Well, it's not a live channeling, but it's recorded live channeling of
Okay.
these energies, right? So
Oh, amazing. This is wonderful. And then you take us into the Gnostic wisdom with Yeshua and Magdalene.
yeah, this is an amazing one. This is the first time we've offered this, by the way.
Wow.
So I can't remember. I think you said there were 58 different videos, right? I
Right.
think it is. It's a lot. It's a lot of content. And so it's really that noetic wisdom and understanding that, and it's in dialogue. There's different questions that come up around topics with Yeshua and Magdalene.
Give from the heart, and the heart will open. Give from the heart, and you shall receive the heart as well.
Mm.
Source, the holy heart, the Holy Spirit, as you're doing now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah,
So
so unity consciousness is covered in there. We talk about vibrations and frequencies and dimensions and what they mean in a more practical way. We talk about love, of course, and the I am consciousness that you've been bringing up more and more.
That is correct. The I am that I am. But it is truly the I am becoming. Again, I am becoming what I am becoming. That is the true translation from the Hebrew.
Oh, interesting.
I am becoming that which I am becoming.
Mm.
But in English, you might say, I am what I am that I am.
It carries a frequency that shifts.
That is correct.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh, this one is also new. And it's not sort of new, but it's the first time we've kind of offered it like this. And these are a series of 5 different interviews that we've done with 5 different people about the afterlife. So a research scientist, someone who cracked us up time and time again. It's kind of it's a really fun video. He does clear tangency.
Huh.
So he picks up things from touching.
Wow.
It's just a real hoot, actually. Do you remember him?
We know his frequency.
Anthony, remember
Yes.
him. And then there's an angelic, there's 2 people who channel different angelic energies, and then Sandra is an author. So yeah, they're really interesting interviews, actually, from many different perspectives. And
providing, again, access to consciousness, putting us in a field dynamic where we can be in resonance with what we're opening up to, which is, I love this. Every time we finish an interview and we're done, I love just being in the energy, the high that I feel off of it. And then I'm looking forward to the next time that you're on with great anticipation, but also still integrating and still being with the wisdom that flowed through you, through Magdalene, through Yeshua, through whoever happened to come through. And again, looking forward to the next encounter, looking forward to the next meeting. So I love that you're sharing so much in this, because it allows that resonance of coming back home and not only remembering, but co-creating as well as we remember. So it's so wonderful.
Very well said.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you teach us all the time is really just being in that resonance field on a regular basis, right? Being with community, being connected, being in that field, so that because when we're in the field and we're in there from an open heart place, these whole things of like, some people call them activations, some people call them energy attunements. They can't take place unless our heart is open.
But I will say this to all of you as well. Be in this resonance field and your heart cannot stay closed. Stay here with us. And your heart will open further than you have ever expected it to.
Yeah.
And this is where you will find the child again and the magic.
Yeah, that's true. Being a child again.
Yes.
Beautiful. Renee, as we continue here, let's get into more items and we'll wrap up the special offer in a little bit, but this is amazing. So now we get into the power of meditation and channel guided meditation.
Yeah, so there's two, they're actually videos, but they're audio walking you through, and both, well, one is more of getting you into the place of meditation, and the other one is balancing the masculine and feminine, going through the chakras and unlocking them and smoothing them out, so to speak, balancing them.
Yes, balancing them,
Balancing.
re-energizing them.
Yeah.
And I love that you're talking about that, both energies are important, but how can we become more aware of where we're spending too much time in?
Yes, exactly.
Let's bring in that information. And again, to be in the dance of it, instead of waiting in the corner, asking to be pulled out to the dance floor, it's a whole different experience, right?
Yeah, no. You really, it's really about feeling into that, because sometimes where we think, I know that I was always very masculine in a business setting, right? And so being aware of, when to, like when Magdalene came through and she was so strong and forceful, right? Because that was the energy that she was 2000 years ago, but she too had to learn to balance.
Yes, of course. She too had to find her own masculine and feminine balance. And she needed to be also feminine. And she was feminine as well. She was often feminine with me, very feminine with me. She was very feminine also with the sisters as well. But with the masculine, she had to become a little bit more masculine with the apostles themselves. She had to show them who was the boss. As you say. They didn't like that very much, but they got used to it. They became a little bit more feminine as well by her showing them how to become feminine. Remember, they were all the community together. We were all a community as one. We were a family. Nothing is perfect, but we learned together. We loved together. We cried together. We ate together. We were truly a family of one.
Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. All right, Renee. And we've got the Your Soul Speaks ebook.
Yes. I think it's also, is it also an audiobook or just an ebook? I can't remember what you put up there.
I see an ebook right now, but if it's an audiobook, then awesome, we'll take it as well.
Yeah, whatever it says there, I think, but that was partially channeled, this content. So there's definitely vibrational energy in that book as well. So
yeah, and I love these questions in the ebook. What's your purpose? Is it defined by a career? What is your soul calling you to do? And are you living your dream? And again, just what's provided here, and not just the words, but the resonance in the words, the resonance to get it open and open the heart.
Yeah. And we never really know, right? I think it's interesting. We were talking to, I know you had Matt Kahn on last night, who we love. Yeah, I love the guy. And we were talking to him, last week about the resonance in words, right? Not all of us who are doing this work, we don't fully understand it, but we embrace it, we accept it, and we know that it's happening. Right. We just know it's happening in whatever magic way it happens.
I loved his concept, his perception of the cross.
Oh, I know. That was interesting. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Remember, the cross doesn't have to be something religious. It doesn't have to be something that is evil either. Remember that the cross is nothing more than opening your heart. You are spreading your wings again. Think about it that way, and you are ready to fly. Let that represent something new to you in this time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Let that cross be your wings of opening now.
Now, can that heal past timelines?
Why not?
It can, can't it?
If you intend it, then it shall be. If you think it, then it will be created.
Yeah, it's almost like it's replacing outdated paradigm timelines, right? That keep us stuck in our body in trauma.
Let it be said, and it shall be written in your own Akash. If you can think it,
Yeah.
if you can perceive it, if you can act upon it and look at the cross in a new way, look at yourself in a new way, you are changing your own timelines, your own Akash, as you call it. Everything is recorded somewhere. It never goes away. You are beings of matter, and matter never disappears. The energy goes somewhere else, but it is always recorded somewhere else as well. And that is what you call your Akashic records. Beautiful.
This is so important for me, and thank you for bringing it in, because I grew up Latino Catholic, and so the symbolism of the cross was suffering. There was the suffering and the having to suffer for others, the martyr that goes into it, and dying for the sake of another. And I chose for the longest time to, and up to this point, really, up until this awareness that you just brought in, to dismiss it, to judge that as wrong, instead of reframing into what was waiting to evolve. I was in the judgment as, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. There's something wrong to that. There's not right. People are being taught to suffer by this symbolism.
Yeah.
But the reframe of that symbolism has allowed me in this very second, or in this very minute when you're talking about that, to let go of the judgment and to let it to evolve into a new level of consciousness.
Yes.
And that for me is absolutely how we're all evolving right now.
Yeah.
By having the reframes of what's possible instead of holding that which we consider no longer serves us as wrong.
The cross is not something that you must bear. It is something that you must open up to and find yourselves again. Spread your arms out and open your heart and your chest. The heart chakra, let it open up. Spread your wings. Lay on that floor on your own cross and say, come to me, God, speak to me again. I haven't spoken to you in a while.
Oh, I like that.
When you speak to God, when you open up your chest, you allow source to come in, and you will have a conversation with yourself, which is God, and you will find yourself again in this lifetime. Take that cross, all of you, and spread your wings wide as you can go, and do not be afraid. It is not something you must bear. It is something that you must open up to again.
Wow.
You, all of you.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
We've taken the cross and we put a heart on it, and then we've laid it on top of Metatron's cube, a wooden Metatron's cube. And that's what
Yes.
Anthony looks at every night.
Change your perception of it. Create something new in it, something that is uniquely you. Yes.
I love Magda's symbolism also in southern France, because it's with the cross with the anchor. And so the grounding and component of the anchoring also of the cross. For me, it's another, again, more symbolism that it's inviting us into a consciousness of expansion.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfectly said. That's exactly what's happening, right? And the more that we allow through our heart, we just go into this expansionness, and then there's no turning back.
And then there is no fear.
Yeah, there's no fear.
The fear dissipates. It disintegrates. It goes away little by little when you open that heart.
Yeah, so true.
Very good.
Beautiful. Yeshua, I want to ask you a question. I want to finish the special offer then and start promoting some of y'all to panelists so we can take your personal questions. So y'all, the special offer, again, we went through it all. Go through it again if you want to. It's $111. It's a 2-payment option. It's full of content. And again, the resonant frequency.
And a live workshop too.
A live workshop. Thank you. Yes. It's like live workshop. I even overlooked that because the rest is so rich. And the live workshop where you guys get to ask your questions. That workshop is built just for y'all. The agenda is to show up for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is amazing. Y'all take advantage of it. Again, the link again is in the chat box. or you can open up a new web browser and type in beyondtheordinaryshow.com/blue soul 29. It'll take it to that same page. And I'm going to start promoting some of you all to panelists now. Type in your questions in the chat box. And
I saw some great questions fly through there. So
if you find some, feel free to pick them up, Renee, and we'll go through them as well. And Yeshua, I want to ask you a question. Do you connect to other beings when you were channeling, when you were sourcing information? Were you connecting to the Galactus, to Melchizedek? Were you connecting to the elemental beings and to Gaia? Or was it a stream of consciousness direct from source? Or did you even choose to play with those different consciousness just because you could?
John, again, your questions are profound
they're
and
great.
deep.
Thank you.
Okay, I will say this to all of you. When you decide to open yourselves up to source, to God, to who you truly are, you are a beacon of light for all to come. And when I say all, I mean all. All entities will come to you. All frequencies will come to you. All souls will come to you. Everything that you may perceive to be the highest, everything that you perceive that might be the lowest, it all comes.
Yeah.
So to answer your question is this, it all came to me, as it did the great Buddha as well.
And Yogananda.
Yes, any prophet, any
Yeah.
teacher, it comes, as it comes to you, John, as well. But you know who you are, and you are grounded into who you are. Let them come to you. You acknowledge them and say, I see you, soul. I see you. I acknowledge you. Let them come to you and let them pass. Because you know that you are source, and they wish to be a part of your light as well.
They can't harm you if you know that you're source. If you know who you are in this lifetime, you're going to be this beacon of light that every energy will come to.
That is correct.
So when you
Got it.
don't show fear, that's kind of what you mean, right? Let them come to you, because you don't
There
want
is no more fear when
Right.
you understand who you are.
that you're source, that you're love.
Yes,
Yeah, they'll just bounce off your light.
in a manner of speaking.
Mm.
More souls here, I see.
Yay.
There are more so's. And Renee, let me take a live caller. And then if you find a question that
go
was
ahead.
really relevant, let's go
Sure.
to it. So Jenna, let's start with you. If you can unmute, please. And welcome to the call. And what is your question?
Oh, wow. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm going to try not to jump out of my body here.
Relax.
Thanks. Yeah, I just, I feel like I'm having trouble, a lot of lack of energy. Kind of like, what is the point? It comes and goes. It's not like a permanent thing, but I just, like, oh, sorry. So yeah, I just, yeah. I don't know. My question is, I just, how do I step through? I feel like I've been in this phase for a very long time. I just want to step through to the next. If that makes any sense.
I understand, more or less. But I ask you a question, soul. Where are you stepping to? Where are you going? You know you're already here. There's nowhere to go. You're not going up and you're not going down. You're not going here and you're not going there. You are here already. What is it that you must do to open up your heart even further so that you may experience who you truly are in this lifetime? Take away the idea that you're going somewhere. You already are in your own paradise. What do you do? Slow down. You are a funny soul, a comical soul. You spin a lot.
Yes.
Slow down. Soul, slow down.
Mm.
Relax. Cry a little bit. But
Mm.
slow down. Enjoy your life. Enjoy. You are beautiful in spirit and in this incarnation. I see it all in you. You are blessed. May the spirit that is holy of holies be among you, with you, and within you. I say unto you this, you are healed. You are open now. I am with you. I will not leave. I love you beyond your comprehension, my dear soul. Tears of enlightenment, I say. Very good. You make me cry, for that you give to me your love divine, and I feel that in me. Benedictions to you. Now, be strong, be happy, and slow down. Beautiful question.
So
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank
Jenna.
you.
Thank you, Jenna. And Jenna, I would tell you that your tears are not only because you're releasing something, because also you're receiving something,
Yeah.
not only from Yeshua, but from yourself as well. I mean, acknowledgement. It's so profound in so many different levels. Come back and listen
Okay.
and release and receive, and then give to us this beautiful light that we get to see now. Thank you.
Yeah, that was well said, John.
Oh my goodness. Renee, did you find a question that popped out for you?
I don't know. I'm like crying now because
No, me too. I was tearing up. I was tearing up. Well, I have to say, Michelle wrote in, and Michelle said that she kind of felt like I did a little bit around Mary Magdalene about feeling like, she's going to reprimand me a little bit. And it was, we actually have Michelle on the call. Michelle, why don't you go ahead and mute yourself and ask your question? And you felt that also. I was like, oh shit, I'm be called out.
Well, Michelle just like and Michelle's in our Magdalene Sisters group. And
Nice.
we meet several times a month. And the last time Michelle had asked a question, Magdalene kind of a little reprimanded her in a loving way.
It was gentle, but I did get the message. Yes. I have a question about a loved one who's he's really getting prepared to pass, and he has late stage dementia, and he's turned very angry and violent, and I'd like to know how to help him. How can I soothe him when he's spending more time not in reality than he is in reality? And I don't know how to help him, and I want to help him because he's so unsettled at the end days here.
Is he in sleep state?
Sleep state.
Yeah.
You mean the state in which you are kind of in between?
Mhm.
Yes, I understand. Now, this show is about bringing together feminine and masculine, science and spirituality. And I ask you, Michelle, what does the science say for him? How does the science help him during this transition? That is the first thing. Now, the spiritual part. What is it that you can do for him spiritually? How can you make him comfortable during this transition period?
Yeah.
1 second, please. Your hands. Something about your fingers. Something about your fingers we see. You can lay your hands over him lightly. You don't even need to touch him. massage his energy,
Mm.
heal his energy, become part of his energy, let it flow into you and flow out of you. Let you be the healing vessel for him now.
So the intention of smoothing the agitated energy.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Smooth him out,
Yeah.
less irritated, less agitated. But you must remember, combine both your science and your spirituality together as one to help him. He is in a form of what we do refer to as sleep state. You are partially awake and partially asleep during this period of transition. There is no particular time limit. It is up to the soul to go through this. But the sense or the meaning or the fact that you are there in presence is meaningful for him. He may not show it or demonstrate it, but his soul knows it.
Mm.
His soul is aware of it.
Yeah.
Very good.
I will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
service.
Michelle. That-
Thank
I want-
you.
Yeah, blessings to you, Michelle. It's wonderful to see you. I want to take another question that came in through the chat box. You're on video also, but I'm going to take the question that came in through the chat because I want to keep it very specific because it's so beautifully written here. And before I get into that question, I want to remind you of the special offer of what's coming through the divine, feminine, the masculine, Renee and Anthony by themselves are just embodying such profound love that they're sharing with us and showing what it's like to be grounded in it as they allow this expression of this light, of this benevolence, of this, again, vibrational frequency to emanate through them. The special offer is fantastic. Again, it's truly a special offer. It's only $111, a 2-payment option. Live course that starts November 19th, and enough material to keep you swimming so beautifully in the energy that's being offered here today until that live call and then some. So I do hope you all take advantage of that. And again, the link's in the chat box. April's just typed it in there again. So just find that little blue link, click on it, and smooth transition through the checkout process. And the replay of tonight's call, we'll post it a little bit later. You can always access replays by opening up a web browser and just typing in beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replays. And so tonight's call and every other call from the season will be on there as we continue on in season 29. This is episode 2 of season 29. We're just off to we're at a whole new stratosphere of what's becoming available, which is such an indication of how profoundly we are expanding, truly. And that's not us in the speakers, that's all of us in community, individually, showing each other what is available to us now. So again, you can access the replays on that page. And now I want to get into the question, Anthony, Renee, Yeshua, whoever decides to come in, from Kaz. And Kaz writes, query on cord cutting. I've recently returned from a trip home in Ireland and cut the cord with my sister. She's been mocking on my spiritual path, and I've become so open. I'm feeling quite numb and in a void. Am I blocking something, so need to keep cut cords present, or stay true to my current path as I'm feeling strong, but just in a new energy? Just a bit of a confusion time. Would love and would value your answer on this. And thank you, Kaz, for writing in.
It's a great question. Your sister's in Ireland?
And Kaz, if you want to unmute now, please go ahead.
Hi, good morning from Perth.
Good morning.
Yes, my sister's in Ireland and I went back for a month and I've been back in Perth for the last 2 weeks. And the last time I was there was about 3 years ago. And there has been a shift in me. It's been growing for the last 7 years, I would say. And it almost feels like a closing of a chapter with her. There's just been a massive shift and she's seeing the change in me. Now, I know that she has curiosity around my path because she does show interest. But there's just this block. There's a lot of, I suppose, unresolved old trauma with her, with me. Anyway, there's a bit of a story, but we just clashed the whole month. And when I left, it felt like a closing of a chapter. And I'm in a really numb space these last 2 weeks. But I'm really feeling strong. There's just this energy. I'm not sure what it is. It is confusing.
It's confusing, Cass. Totally get it. Let's see what Yeshua has to bring in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeshua, that is me.
Yeshua.
But you can answer that question, Gaia. Can't you? You and Anthony have family like that as well.
We do.
You answer. Go ahead. Tell her, what is
Well,
family really?
Yeah, but I think first what I would love to hear from you is about the cord cutting.
Yeah.
Cord cutting.
Because I think that's an important piece to address.
You're asking a question that is difficult to
Yeah.
answer at times. I'm going to tell you this, sister. You cannot cut cords. You cannot cut love from love. You cannot disconnect from anything, really. You must know this. She will always be your sister, and she will always love you until the very end. Do not wish to cut cords with her. Only wish that her heart opens to your path as well. Remember, we say to you and to all of you, your families are not here to teach you who you are, but they are here to teach you who you are not. And you are not her. She is raising you above. She is helping you to elevate higher and higher.
Even if you can't see it that way at the moment.
You see? We are not telling you to stay in her residence field.
I haven't talked to one of my sisters in 8 years, I think.
But you do not need to cut cords or cut communication. But you can still be friendly to her and know that she is your sister.
And just keep sending love.
Yes.
Without being glued to the outcome.
Remember, source is who you all are. You are connected to the all, whether you like it or not. I suggest to all of you, like it. Find the paradise in this vibration now and rise above it, as you say.
I think the suffering comes when we want to share, we want them to open and see the love and the light that we're experiencing. And when they don't, that's where the friction and the confusion is. But if we can just give the love without any expectations in return and just know that it's going to unfold in its own divine way, even if it's not in this lifetime for her, and it may not be in this lifetime for her.
Well said, Gaia. I couldn't agree more.
I have good teacher.
Yes.
I have a question, Kaz, because we can all relate.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we're being in the energies, as we're in these beautiful environments that we feel our hearts can open. But then there's environments where we feel like the energy in which we're wishing to be received from another is not being sent back. Actually, it's inviting us to close more. Who do you really think that you are the light that you pretend to be? And let me demonstrate to you how you may not be that. And it seems like it may be coming in that way. So we want to step back. We want to avoid what we would deem to be the arrows that are being shot at us, because we don't want to be harmed in this beautiful tenderness of our expansion and opening, getting to know ourselves. And so how do we navigate those realms? How we navigate those relationships without putting ourselves in the line of that fire?
How is that for us?
Yeah.
And we say us. We are many, we are one. You are many, you are one. One soul again, all of us. So how do you navigate that? You stay here with us. Don't stay there with her. You stay here with us, and we will rise you up. Our community will bring you up
They're
when
talking
you are
about,
down.
they're talking about vibration.
Yes, if you want to speak in a quantum aspect, we will light you up further and further and further and further. We will put the Holy Spirit in you, if you want to say it that way. We will make your chakras turn and spin in ways they haven't felt in this vibration in a long time. We will get the Kundalini going crazy. And then you will feel it. Then you will rejoice. Then you will say, yes, yes, yes. This is where
I want to be.
exactly.
And then the triggers just won't be triggers anymore.
Yes.
You know, it won't resonate with your field of energy anymore. And so the situation and the relationship may still be the same, but you won't feel the same way about it anymore.
Smile more.
Yeah.
Smile more. Laugh more about it. Joke more about it. She will always be your sister. She may not be the sister that you want, but she will be your sister. Nevertheless, you are feeling that now. You are feeling that confusion.
Yeah.
You are feeling that opening. What do you do with it? Whatever you want to do with it. But stay here with us.
And the vibration.
Stay in the
The
vibration.
more you stay in that vibration, the less it's going to impact you.
Yes.
It won't feel.
This is such a profound conversation, truly, because Kaz, I mean, think about it this way. You're at a point and you're expanding and you're opening it up, and it comes to a point, it's like, it seems like there's only two choices and there's really more. But the choice is, do I die in the old relational dynamic, in the energy, and suffocate myself and what I'm trying to expand from? Or do I choose to allow the depth of the relationship to take place? And am I going to mourn that? And then we're in the confusion of thinking that we have to choose one or the other.
You don't.
John, I see a book being written. If you know what we mean.
I know what you mean. Yes, thank you.
He's like, yeah, I have time to do that. I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, but it's so beautiful. And Kaz, thank you for bringing into consciousness what so many of us are experiencing in lots of different ways.
Yeah, I
and
think that
blessings.
question, yeah, that question was
Thank you.
amazing because we all have a sister or a brother or a cousin or a mother. We all have that same archetype, if you want to call it that. We all, like, everyone's nodding, right? So that question, I think, helped all of us, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
And
for
greetings
being here.
to Perth. Yes.
Yay.
Jesus. Renee. Magdala. Anthony. Oh my goodness. It's maybe Anthony can come back. Yeshua, thank you so much. And Magda, thank you so much. It's the words aren't enough to describe the gratitude and yeah, of what comes through.
I know we're running over a little bit. There is a question. We probably don't have time to take it, right?
Let's go for it. If you have time, we absolutely have time. Yes.
Well, there's a question. I don't know if James is even still on the call, but he was talking about asking that Yeshua and Magdalene brought forth the Sofia energy, or at least that was his understanding, in their healing ceremonies. And he's curious as to how this happened, and were they seeding this type of energy for future generations?
Great question.
It's a really
Very
good
good
question.
question.
Yeah.
And I told you this evening that when Magdala and I came, we were seeding that generation for the generations to come, to incorporate masculine and feminine energies. And it has been seeded and it has grown now. And you see it growing,
Yeah.
you see it evolving. So yes, we did seed it.
Mm.
As I always used to say, the mustard seed, what is so tiny can become so grand and so big. The Sophia will come through again. It is the feminine aspect of God.
Yeah. It's pure love.
It is what it is. You can decide what is the masculine aspect of God. You can decide what is the feminine aspect of God. It is up to you. But in the end, bring them together as one again. And you will find out that in truth, you as a soul are neither masculine nor feminine. You are simply light and love. And with that, I will take leave. I will step back and I will let Anthony's light shine a little bit brighter. It is always an honor and privilege to be in the presence of beauty. And I do say that with humility. We cannot do this without you. You must be open to us, and then you will be open to you. Peace and love and gratitude and grace. These are the things that you are made of, most and foremost. Take these and share them with others in your communities. We will see you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Jan, it is always an honor to be in your presence, soul. Good night,
Okay.
or good morning, or afternoon.
And good morning in Australia.
Adu.
I know. Would love to get back down there. Been ages.
As Anthony comes back, y'all, again, the special offer, the link's in the chat box. We'll run the replay a little bit later this evening. And Anthony and Renee and I have our sleeves rolled up planning something potentially for next year, which would be quite big, that we'll announce as we roll it out. But that's going to be super fun. Yeah, but again, more about that later. But planting the seed, right?
Planting the
mustard
seed. Planting the mustard seed. Yeah, something I wouldn't want to miss.
Me either. Oh my goodness. I'm showing up for that one. Good thing I'm helping to plan it.
Right. Are you back?
Mhm.
Okay. The Ascended Masters came through. I don't know if you noticed they had come through at the tail end, not the last question, but the question before that. I felt like the Ascended Masters came collectively.
I think a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I could sense that. It was the energy was just a slight shift.
Let me see everybody. There you are.
Anthony, how are you feeling after Melchizedek is coming through?
Oh, after the Melchizedek energy?
That's a really
That was a
energy.
huge shift.
The first time it came through for him, he was frozen. He couldn't move. And we were doing a live course with it. And he was kind of like,
Felt like a robot.
Felt like a robot until the frequency match got more aligned, and then it was easier and smoother, right? It just took a while.
I think that's what we all feel sometimes when we feel like we're confused or we feel something. I think we're getting used to these.
Yeah.
You can call it an upgrade, or you can feel this energy coming into us. We just don't recognize it. And that's even what it is for me. I don't recognize the frequencies. I have to get used to these frequencies so I can incorporate them and become one with them. That's really what they're talking about.
Yeah. And I think, the big thing is I always ask, because I'm like the goddess of discernment, if I don't recognize the energy, the question that we always ask is it of love? Is it of divine love? That's the key question. And if it doesn't feel that way, we don't bring it through.
Well, I just want to thank both of you, because you guys are truly the messengers of that benevolent frequency, of that love. So thank you for the way that you really, for all the effort and work and love. And you guys, we show up to these calls and they make it look so easy. But really what happens in the back end, trying to build the business, trying to build momentum, writing books, sharing information, sharing love in this way, it is a labor, a birthing of love. And if you've seen a birthing, if you've gone through the labor process, you know that it's not necessarily a cakewalk, but it's the most beautiful and gifted thing that we can give and receive simultaneously. So again, thank you both for your labor of love and your intention behind it, and how we get to receive it in its translation.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah,
you.
it's beautiful.
So as we always say, stay in that heart.
Yeah, I mean, for
Space all
us,
the
we
time.
keep coming back and doing the work because of the love,
Yeah.
and the teachings that are so profound. And, I had mentioned this to, that girlfriend, and she didn't quite understand, like, well, how do you know it's real? And it's like, I feel it, and you can't explain it unless you haven't really gone through it.
Right.
Right. And that's really what it is for us, is that even when the book started getting transmitted, we were in tears, just the aspects of the book, like learning what it was like to walk the earth as a woman 2000 years ago. And all of the stuff that they went through just was heartbreaking and loving and opening all at the same time.
Mhm.
It's just an amazing journey
beautiful.
with these ascended masters. Isn't
Well,
it?
again, I love what you guys do. I love the way that you're bringing it in. Thank you so much. It's always wonderful connecting with you here.
Yeah.
too.
And wonderful to be able to share it and just in a broader community. So again, just blessings, namaste to both of you.
Namaste.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
to everyone here on the call, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. We love all of you.